I do not want to start this episode off in a negative light, but it is really, really, really freaking hard to juggle personal life and professional life, because the thing that you feel needs to be the priority is almost always going to get all of your time, and then the other part that you're not focusing on is going to get worse, and then it just gets overwhelming and it compounds, and it's a whole freaking thing.
There's someone I'm thinking of who is very professionally developed, very successful in corporate, but not very personally developed and not very successful in their intimate relationship or in their interpersonal relationships. Then there's other people who are unbelievably well developed internally, vulnerability, courage, humility, great in their intimate relationship, but they're not successful in the professional realm, and you need both.
Next Level Nation today for episode number 2109. What's winning, personal or professional life? Had to go to the DMV yesterday, the Department of Motor Vehicles. Had to renew the old license, get the new license so I can travel, whatever. Shout out to my wonderful wife, Taryn, set it all up, made the appointments for us. She's the fucking best. But I had to wrap my day up at like 3:30 to go, because that was the latest appointment I think they had, because they only work till 5. Shout out to them. And we walk in and there's a line out the fucking door. Again, shout out to Taryn for scheduling us on appointments. Appreciate that. So we get to go up, and it was a lot quicker. It only took probably 45 minutes. All things considered, that's really good. But I had a moment where it was like, I never would have done that unless Taryn planned it. I know myself as humbly as humanly possible. I wouldn't have done it. I would have waited, and I would have put it off, and I would have waited. We have 4 weddings in August. I have to get my suit, my suit pants tailored. It's on my list.
Have 4 weddings in August?
Yeah.
Oh no.
I told you this summer is going to be a rough one for me. I've already planned it all out. Trust me, I'm on it. I promise.
Oh my goodness.
But that's one of the reasons I thought this would be a really good episode, is because the rest of the time it hasn't been that bad.
I just RSVP'd regretfully to a wedding that I would have loved to go to, but I said I had to prioritize the business.
I understand. These are non-negotiations. One I'm the best man in, so you can't really.
Yeah. I'm not.
Can't really skip that one.
4 others though.
3 others.
3 others.
3 others. Yeah, they're family.
All non-negotiations.
They're yeah. All non-negotiations. So that's another thing. For some reason, my face rash is coming back, and Taryn's like, "You got to make an appointment." What I first need to do is I need to figure out whether or not I have to pay the $450 my insurance company charged me for the last time I went, even though I pay $450 a month for insurance. So you think it might just like wash out somewhere? I got to call them. I'm not going back if I got to pay $400. So I got to call to see if that's taken care of. Until that's done, I'm not making a fucking appointment. And there are certain things that just keep getting pushed off. If I sent you a picture of the office right now, oh my God.
The picture I saw on social was so nice.
Yeah, that was 8 months ago. That was a long time ago. That was a long time ago. I had to dig back in my... Yeah, that was not today.
Oh, okay. All right. I didn't know that. I was like,
no.
He was nice and clean shaven. I don't think that's... Yeah, it
no,
did look different.
Well, I shaved the other day, but my desk is not bad, but like everything else is. Because it's just... I had a wake to go to last week. I took all of my dress clothes out of the closet because I haven't worn dress clothes in a fucking year. They're over there still. I got to put them back in the closet. Mm-hmm. It's a whole thing. I am struggling so bad right now with juggling personal and professional, because the professional just matters more in terms of the specific results I am aspiring to. And it's just fucking brutal. It's just brutal. So I figured it would be cool to do an episode on it, because this is what we want. This is what I aspire to. My fucking light just blew out for some reason, so I'm gonna have to fix that at some point.
I didn't even notice.
Throw that on the list. It's a minor light. We aspire, health, wealth, and love, aspire to it. But personal and professional is a little bit different, because it crosses over in different ways. And yeah, I thought it would make for an interesting episode. Answer.
Which one? You're 35.
Mm-hmm.
Which one? Give me the theme. So give me from 0 to 5, 5 to 10, 10 to 15, 15 to 20, 25 to
0 to
30.
5, I shit myself often. And I
Which one
drink
were you
my-
more focused on, personal or professional?
I drank my Bubba.
Personal.
Personal. Crushing it.
Yeah.
0 to 5, personal. 5 to 10, personal. 10 to 15, personal. 15 to 20, personal. 20 to 25,
Professional.
probably professional.
Yeah.
25 to 30, professional.
30 to 35.
30 to 35, professional. And then, 35 to 40 is obviously going to be super professional. But the personal is stacking faster. That's the thing, is like now the professional is stacking super quick. There's so much going on. Great. Super, super grateful, privileged, awesome, love it. But now the personal thing is stacking faster than it ever has too, because there's other stuff that you can only go so long without washing the towels.
Yeah, of course.
You can only go so long without whatever the thing is, or going grocery shopping, whatever. Yeah, that.
There's so many of those.
Of course.
There's so many of those. I don't feel like people ever were clear enough. And again, of course, I have this thing. Why weren't we taught more? Blows my mind. It always will. It always will.
Yeah.
If you want more success, you must also want more responsibility. I'm thinking of someone who has 7 properties. We have a project list for the entire summer, and there's a lot on it.
I believe it.
I have 1 property. So many projects. Too much. Emilia wanted to do real estate in the past. She was a real estate agent. She wanted to buy Airbnb. Nope. And we talked about it. I didn't say no. That sounded wrong. We talked about it. It's like, you know what? Maybe not. Let's build our 3 businesses and let's stick with that. And here's my point. I think there's this weird thing where people want results without the responsibility. I have 2 cats and a dog. People always, and some parents do this, they complain about their kids. And it's like, why are you complaining about your children? You wanted children. What, did you think it was going to be easy?
I think about that all the time.
I think you can't have children and not want the responsibility that comes with having children. There's an upside and a downside to everything. Genuinely, I always think about, everything's an iceberg. There's above the surface and below the surface. You want to get married? Great. There's a responsibility. You have to earn that every single day. You want to buy a house? Okay. There's a mortgage. There's projects. You have to take care of it. You ever see one of those houses that's been completely engulfed like Jumanji? Because that house isn't going to be worth anything.
I'm excited because one day I'll be able to go scoop that thing up. Say, hey, I'll take this off your hands.
Yeah, and then you're going to have to un-Jumanji that fucking thing.
Well, I'm going to have to pay someone because I can't do it for sure.
That's what I'm saying. So all things neglect. Neglect destroys all things. It does. Destroys all things. Personal, professional. If I were to go through my timeline, professional was always the priority. Always. But I think that's because goals require, when it comes to your career, I actually think there's a huge disconnect. Challenge for everyone out there watching or listening. From now on, just for a week, maybe a couple days, when you meet someone, personal or professional, you crossed the chasm recently. Most people, I remember I had a mentor, and he met Kev. And I remember him behind the scenes was like, why Kev? And of course, dude, honestly, with all love, like, of course he's going to say that, right?
Look, if you're listening right now, I want you to know that I was in better shape than you, good sir. And I had something worth something. It was very hidden and it was under a lot of dirt. But there was a diamond in there somewhere, I assure you.
And he didn't mean it negatively. He was actually asking. He was actually saying, and I said, he works like a workhorse. That was my justification. Workhorse. Dude grinds. Way more than anyone you have working for you, sir. And that's true. That is true. What else did I say? No, I'm fucking with you. No, the truth is he's in the professional sense, Kev didn't have a lot going for him. You didn't have a resume. You don't have a college degree. You don't have a master's degree. You don't cover letter, LinkedIn. You didn't even have a fucking LinkedIn. I'm not trying to be a dick, but you weren't going to win in the professional realm outside of certain things. And that's okay. Like, I just wish people think I'm such a fucking asshole. And it's like, listen, I actually care enough to tell you. I care enough to tell you. You need a resume. You need a cover letter. You need a LinkedIn. You need to ask someone how to build a resume and a cover letter. There's courses you can take. Like, you have to be a professional in this world. If you want to have a great career, you have to go to career development. And I remember I went to career development in my college, and they taught me how to build a resume. And I went to career fairs. Like, results don't just, oh, I just got another job. This is awesome. That's not how it works. So at the end of the day, I've always been very professional and career oriented. So I'm on the very high end of that. And so, yes, I'm a little preachy when it comes to that. Like, your future, I said this to a couple we were just coaching. I said, listen, you guys want to retire one day and not have to work. You're still going to work. They've said that, but you don't want to not have to work. I said, let me teach you how to do it. You build wealth now, and eventually you accumulate enough wealth where the interest from your investments pays you a salary. And that salary, I crunched the numbers. If you can accumulate $3 million in investments, which is doable, I can show you the math. It's totally doable, especially in the US. You can 8% year over year is $240,000. You can just siphon that right off the snowball. And now you never have to work again. That's not that hard to do if you're focused on your career and investing, and you earn more, spend less, and invest the difference. Like, there are a lot of wealthy people out there that aren't actually that much more capable than you. They just did something you didn't. And last piece, I'll share this. I said, how long have you guys, because they opened up the relationship talks coaching session. We help people achieve their dreams in their relationship. And by the way, married couples, it's way easier together. It's exponentially easier when you have a partner that you're certain about. It's unbelievable. What I can achieve with Emilia has blown my mind compared to what I could do alone. It's been really cool. But anyways, so the male in the relationship said, Alan, teach me about money. I want to, like, how do we build wealth? I was like, I thought you'd never fucking ask. It was so exciting. And we went through the whole thing. And I said, how old are you guys? How long have you guys, because they see people on Instagram and Facebook, and they see their friends, vacations and boats and all this stuff. I said two things. Number one, a lot of those people are in debt, and their future self is paying for that stuff. And number two, a lot of it is generational wealth. Genuinely, their families, inheritance, generational wealth, businesses, investments, properties. Like, generational wealth's a big thing, and you can research that. I said this. I said, how long has it been since you guys have really, really had your shit together in finance? And the female said, when we bought the house. I said, well, how long you had the house? She said 14 months. I said, okay, so about a year? She said, yeah. He said, for me, I got out of debt completely like 5 or 6 years ago. 5. He said 5 years ago. I was 24. He's 29 now. I said, okay, so you guys are only 6. Your financial age is 6. You're like a little toddler running around. You guys, you haven't built wealth yet. You're only 6. That's okay. See, in their mind, they're 29 and 28.
Yeah, that's a good way to look at it.
Nice. Thank you. Emilia said the same thing. But I know someone else who their father created an investment account when they were born for their college, and she invested 20% of her income from when she was 14, and he put in money every month until she was in her mid-20s, and now she's going to be a multimillionaire. She's 14 now, and when she's 30, she'll be a millionaire in financial age. So their financial age, combined financial age, is only 6. That's what people don't realize, is most people don't even have their finances even remotely buttoned up until 30. And I think that's, to bring this back to the professional versus personal, personal life is about quality of life. Personal life is about your intimate relationship. Personal life is about what shoes you wear and what clothing you wear and where you go to eat food and where you vacation. And that is one facet of life, but that cannot be the majority. If you want to be successful, you better be focused on your professional career. We are professional podcasters. I'm a coach, a trainer, and a speaker. I'm a CEO of a company that has grossed more than $1 million. I need to lead with that if I want to be successful, that I have skills. And I don't want to see people I adore suffer any longer out of the ignorance of thinking that the professional side doesn't matter, because it matters just as much, if not more, than the personal side.
I think it does matter more because the professional life is what allows you to have a good personal life.
Well said. NLU listener, what is happening? I just wanted to jump in here and let you know, if you want to get to the next level faster, we have a free virtual monthly meetup at the first Thursday of every month. You can connect with like-minded people and become a bigger part of this amazing global community. The link to register will be in the show notes.
Realistically, right?
I did said to Kev earlier, younger.
What age?
Because nobody sold you on this.
I don't think you could have. I was anti do what everybody else was doing. You could have said, Kev, go to college, and when you get out of college, 10 years from now, you make $1 million a year. I don't think I would have done it.
Yeah,
I genuinely don't think I would have.
What if they taught you finance?
I mean, yeah, I think that would have been helpful. I don't know. It's hard for me because it's like, I think it had to happen in the way it happened. In a way.
You could sell you on it for sure.
It's not that I couldn't sell me on it, but it took me this long to get to the place where I'd be able to sell me on it. So I don't know if I think it had to happen in the way it had to happen. I do.
I'm not saying we're changing it. I'm saying, okay, there's someone who's not Kevin, who's similar to Kevin, who's 20 years old and has spent the first 4-5 year spans, like you in the beginning of this episode, only focused on personal. What do you say to that man? Because that man wouldn't even talk to me.
He would have if you dumbed it down a little bit.
Fair.
If you said, Kev, you're only 6 in finance years, I'd be like, fuck yeah, that's true. I'm only 6.
No, you were 0.
Well, yeah, you're just born. You're a newborn. You can't even lift your head up yet.
Yeah.
I don't know. Man. You gotta put a filter on the fun. You gotta put it, and again, all things considered, I was fucked. I was in a lot of trouble, but I did work really, really hard, and I was super consistent with I worked night shifts cleaning a hospital, like working at a hospital, cleaning bathrooms and floors and cleaning beds after people passed away when I was 20. I don't even know if I was 20 yet. 19 to 20, in the 19 to 21 span, I was doing that when all my friends were away, either at college or coming back from college, trying to get their real jobs. That was something that I had been doing. So what
a blast from the past.
What a blast from the past. Yeah.
I watched
Double Dare last night. Remember Double Dare?
I don't know.
Nickelodeon. Oh my God.
I remember Nickelodeon and I go way back.
It was on YouTube.
Hey Arnold.
Yeah. I watched Rugrats like a few months ago. I've just been in a nostalgia place. It would just be
you watching Rugrats.
I just had to see. What it was about.
Yeah, the Rugrats movie. I remember seeing it.
Yeah, Rugrats in Paris.
12. Yeah, that. See, you know the deal.
I don't know what I would say. I would probably say you got to put a filter on fun, because if you max out the fun meter now. Again, I always use the video game analogy, like when you're building a character, you can give them super strength or they can be super fast or whatever. If you put all of your eggs into the fun basket, you're going to get to a place where those eggs are going to be dead and there's nothing else to put in the fun basket. And you're not going to be able to replenish it. That's kind of my thought. But outside of that, I did work hard and I did think I was going to be... I thought eventually I'd get to a place where I was successful. If I just kept working my way up, I was convinced. Then I was like,
this is a really interesting conversation, because I do think,
yeah, I think I would have figured something out. Not this level. No, God, no. I probably would have stayed at that. I either would have stayed at that job or I would have fucking killed myself. One of the two.
Kev, we can't.
Look, all right, it's my story.
I know.
I had suicidal ideations.
The way you say
I know. I understand. Let me clarify.
Let
me clarify.
Yeah.
I am not lessening that. I am not making fun of that at all. But those honestly are the two things that I either would have. I can't imagine ever leaving that job and going to something else that wasn't this.
Just for an FYI, for the listeners who are new, Kevin has a interesting relationship with mortality, and he, whenever he faces any past pain or trauma, he always smiles.
Yes.
He laughs. One time I was crying on the podcast and he had to pinch himself to make sure he didn't start laughing hysterically.
It is, again, I have a lot to work on in therapy. That will be one of the things for sure. It's just a defense mechanism. It happens all the time. Like Tara and I will be having a serious conversation. And I'm like, don't fucking laugh, dude. Like, you're going to fuck this whole thing up. Don't laugh.
You make me laugh because you're about to smirk.
I know.
And I can see it coming on.
I know it was very serious. I cannot imagine leaving that job. I can't imagine ever going back. I was making I was thinking of this recently. I remember my ex-girlfriend at the time went to Whole Foods. No, Wegmans. Mm-hmm. And I was paying for groceries at the time. And I remember we checked out, and it was like $650 for groceries. And I was like, yeah, whatever, cool. Here's the card, run it. And I did not have to think twice at all about it.
Yeah.
I'm excited. Now, again, will I ever actually get to that place again? No, because my awareness is high enough to realize, like, well, that $650 could be $580 if you exchange some of the name brand shit for the off-brand shit. But I was just thinking of that and how it felt so good to have so much certainty, even though most of it was just ignorance, not certainty. Now I have so much certainty, but it's hyper-awareness, you know?
I remember this was in the early days, probably 7 years ago, and I said to Kev, dude, it's crazy how ignorant we were. We were in the studio, and I said, Kev, everyone has a LinkedIn. He said, dude, nobody has a LinkedIn.
Nobody I spend time with has a LinkedIn.
Brother, every person I went to school with.
Well, of course, you went to a goddamn technical college.
I know. I didn't realize, like, I remember when you said I don't even know if I know an engineer.
Yeah.
That's the professional thing. Most corporations have engineers there that build things.
Dude, for me, it would have been like, do you know anybody who like casually does cocaine on the weekends? No, I do. I know a bunch of people, actually.
Well, then I'm a weird bird because I'm
not saying I wasn't one of them.
No.
Nice. Hell yeah.
I knew both for sure. And some of them in corporate, believe it or not.
I do believe it.
But at the end of the day, real quick, that is how you and I merged worlds. It was so weird. Dude, we used to call them M's and E's, people that are logical versus emotional.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, corporation, conscientiousness, professional, structure, discipline, metrics, habits, career orientation, goal orientation. That's a very certain type of person. And here's what I really hope for everybody out there watching or listening. If you're on the personal side and that comes naturally, great. You got to work on the professional side. Got to. And if you're on the professional side, like I had to work on the internal stuff. I had to really work on myself. I had to get to know myself. I already understood how the world worked and that kind of stuff. And again, not fully, obviously, but if you had to pick one, personal or professional, I was way more professionally developed than I was personally developed. You were way more personally developed than you were professionally developed. In the 21st century, you have to be ambidextrous. You have to be. You have to be personally developed to win in the real world with your real husband or wife, whoever it is, with your kids, with your family, with your family's family, with your friends, your colleagues. Like real world, you have to be personally developed. But you better have a career too. You got to. You got to be professionally developed too. They're two sides of the same coin if you want to be fulfilled and successful and holistic and wholesome. So again, at the end of the day, I think it's a great conversation. And I think all of us can be, if you're a righty, work on your left. Maybe your right will always be stronger, but you can still dribble with your left. And vice versa, if you're lefty, work on your right. And it'll open up a whole new world for you, for sure.
Definitely. A ton of opportunities. And I don't know how to do the other side. I don't know if you're super professional, how to do better at personal. I don't know if I would even know how to advise that.
Vulnerability.
Well, I'm talking more like, how do I get all the stuff that has to get done in the business and professional realm, and then also the stuff that has to get done in the personal realm? Again, we can do a different episode at some point. We won't dive into it because I know we're running long, but that's where this whole thing came from. It's like, dude, I'm crushing everything here. But my personal to-do list is piling up. It's like, when the hell am I going to do that? When am I going to do that? Like, I have to do the dishes. It's 8:15. And again, this is like a really good problem to have. Again, all things considered, there are far worse positions to be in. But the dishes are, I have a tower coming out of the sink right now. It is over the fucking, it's bad. Got to go do it. If I didn't have a wife, that shit would never get done. And it would be really bad. Like, I would be recycling plates. It's like, what is that, ketchup or blood? Yeah, it looks like ketchup. Throw the taco on there. Don't worry about that. So yeah, there's just so much. There's just an influx. When there's an influx of both, you're going to go with the one that seems like it's the most important in the short run. And the other one's going to stack up. Always. Always, always. You're on the beach with a margarita, your work emails, ting, 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 they're stacking. Mm-hmm. They're stacking. You're doing your emails, but there's something else, especially if you're a parent, I can only imagine, stacking up. So yeah, I don't have an answer. This probably is one of those episodes that creates more problems than anything, but I see you and I feel you and I support you, and I understand to the degree I can understand if you're dealing with it.
Right now, in real time, I kid you not, Emilia is excited for a night with me. And she said do I have permission to barge into your office and stop you from working past 8 o'clock? Oh. And it's 8:15 now. So my professional life is winning right now.
Yeah, it is.
In this moment.
Same.
And my personal life is taking a hit. And that is the law of trade-offs. That is what it is to have responsibilities. So let's get the fuck out of here.
Let's get out of here. All right. If you are looking for a group of people who are going through what you're going through to some degree, Alan and myself included, it might be in a different way at a different time, whatever, but I'm struggling with this right now. And that's what NLU is, and that's what it's built on, is we have not arrived. We will never arrive. We are striving forever, and that means we're going through it with you. We have a private Facebook group called Next Level Nation. We'll have the link in the show notes below.
Also, we have a meetup coming up. Let me pull this up here. In July. Habits. Building winning habits. How habits work and how to sustain great ones. Kevin and I have been focused on this for 8 years. 10 years ago, I started these little black notebooks. I have them over in the corner of my office where I would track habits. And now we do it all in Google Sheets, and we have metrics and habits and all kinds of stuff. But it all started simply with, I remember I did this exercise called the 3-column exercise. The first column was all my negative habits. The second column was all my neutral habits. And then the third column was all the habits that I wanted to build. And I remembered I would try to replace column A, one from column A, and put a new one in column B. So for example, I quit drinking and I started weight training. That's a perfect example. That one habit of replacing drinking with weight training has changed my whole freaking life. Mm-hmm. Because what's the worst thing you can do for building muscle? Drinking alcohol. One of the worst things. And so come join us, build winning habits that your future self will thank you for. The link to register will be in the show notes.
As always, we love you. We appreciate you. Grateful for each and every one of you. And at NLU, we don't have fans. We have family. We will talk to you all tomorrow.
Keep it next level. Next Level Nation.